Good evening, I'm Otelli Edwards. Tonight on News 5, Singapore's exports fell in February. The 9.7% decline is worse than expected due to a global slowdown, particularly in China. Positive results from a trial of a motion sensor system for the elderly. It allows families to monitor their loved ones living alone at home. Sleeping patterns and even time taken in the toilet can be tracked. But first, an update on the health of former Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew. Mr. Lee's condition has worsened due to an infection. He is on antibiotics and being closely monitored by his doctors. That's according to a statement from the Prime Minister's office. 91-year-old Mr. Lee has been in the Singapore General Hospital since 5th February when he was hospitalized for severe pneumonia. On the 28th of February, the PMO said that Mr. Lee had been put on mechanical ventilation. In other news, Singapore's non-oil domestic exports fell 9.7% in February compared with the same month last year. The decline is larger than expected, and it's said to be the weakest performance in 2 years.
Lunar New Year festivities have led to distortion in trade activity with top export markets for the month. Non-oil domestic exports to China and Taiwan dropped by more than 22% in February. Economists say such seasonal distortions have weighed on the overall figure, with non-oil domestic exports declining 9.7% in February, reversing a gain in January. Both electronic and non-electronic exports, such as petrochemicals and pharmaceuticals, plunged. However, observers say the holiday is only partly to blame.
A common analysis used by economists to strip out Lunar New Year distortions is to average data between January and February. Still, average Nodex came in soft, down by 2.7% compared to the same period a year ago. Analysts at HSBC say slowing activity in China, as well as weakness in Japan and the Eurozone, have contributed significantly to the contraction.
Looking ahead, economists expect overall momentum to remain soft until the second half of the year, when export growth is likely to get a lift from recovery in the US and Eurozone. Observers are expecting the Monetary Authority of Singapore to ease its exchange rate policy by recentering the Singapore dollar nominal effective exchange rate down by 2 percentage points in April.
That does suggest that the overall momentum of the Sing year continues to remain pretty weak for now. Well, there are also a number of scenarios, but we still think that the MAS will still continue on the gradual and modest appreciation path due to the inflationary pressures still coming in from core of about 0.5 to 1.5% this year.
Trade agency IE Singapore expects Singapore's key exports to grow between 1% and 3% in 2015.
Now, HDB is studying the idea of making an elderly monitoring and alert system available to more flats in future. The system collects information on the elderly's living patterns and alerts family members via SMS if there is a potential emergency. This has already been tested in 12 rental flats around Singapore, and we hear the results are positive.
78-year-old Mabel Chen spends most of her time alone in her one-room flat in Yishun. This worries her daughter, who is at work for a large part of the day.
She ever felt once before, so we might worry for her that she may have a big felt or something like that during the bathing time or here and there.
But there has been greater peace of mind since the smart elderly monitoring and alert system was installed. Motion sensors learn the living habits of the elderly at home, including their sleeping hours and time taken in the bath. It then monitors their movements, which can also be viewed on a mobile app. If any irregular patterns are detected, the alarm is sounded. A notification message is then sent to the caregiver's phone.
With this system on, I feel so much relief. I need to call my mother as and when, because this beeping sounds, once it peeps, I know my mother is having problems or trouble already.
The system also comes with this panic button, which seniors can carry around with them at home so they can alert their next of kin in case of an emergency. So all they have to do is press this button, which then triggers an SMS notification on their family member's phone, which then alerts them to check if their loved one is doing all right. According to a survey done by HDB, all 12 households that took part in the trial are supportive of using the system in their daily living. Many of them said the system did not compromise their privacy.
他说：“哎呀，妈咪啊，你不要怕的啦，可以的。”他说：“你慢慢学嘞，他以后嘞，你就知道好处在哪里。”这样叫我咯。
This is just one of the initiatives under the Smart HDB Town Framework, which was unveiled last year. HDB hopes to collaborate with industry professionals to develop a smart urban habitat master plan. It will guide the implementation of smart solutions on a town-by-town basis. Industry partners will be invited to give ideas where new smart technologies can be used in areas like water, energy, waste, security, and maintenance. With more of such technology being used, HDB is also looking at building and operating a smart hub to integrate, manage and analyze data centrally. HDB will also launch its first smart homes in 2 housing projects at Punggol North Shore in its upcoming May sales exercise.
A personalized retirement planning service for CPF members will be piloted in July. It targets those who are approaching 55 and who may need the service most. For example, those with outstanding home loans. Overall, the service is meant to improve understanding of the CPF system and the recent changes announced.
Madam Aisha Bakri is turning 55 in November this year, a pivotal point in a Singaporean's life where certain decisions on retirement need to be made.
Before I go, I was thinking, how much money do I have? How much money can I take out? I think that's the main thing.
In December last year, the CPF board sent this mailer to about 200 members, inviting them to participate in a trial of the retirement planning service. Madam Aisha took up the offer.
When you go for the session, there is other things that you actually have to consider. Like for me, housing. Okay, I have not fully paid. So what are the things that this is one thing that I need to consider. So not just about taking out the money. So you really have to actually look into it and decide carefully how you're going to spend the money. Yeah. So this session actually helped me because they actually give you the breakdown and explain to you. From there, I have time to actually decide.
From July, the service will be piloted and open up to more members, but only to a selected group, those turning 55 and still servicing a housing loan.
A lot of members actually don't realize it because at age 55, what happens is we transfer ordinary account and special account savings to create the retirement account. Yeah, this actually reduces the ordinary account savings available for payable obligations, such as the housing loan people whom you have mentioned.
Members will get personalized service that will take into account their needs and circumstances.
For now, there are a few obligations such as housing, investment, education. Yeah, if the member has all these concerns, then we will take those out and then we'll run through briefly with him so that he can understand the implications to them and the options available to him. We estimate their future retirement income such as payouts using their current balances.
Now, the retirement planning service will be conducted here at the CPF Service Centre at Robertson Road, and depending on the complexity of the cases, each session will last for about 45 minutes. Now, mailers will be sent out to members who fit the target group, and the CPF board will ramp up this initiative gradually from 2016.
Well, a break is up next, but we've got world headlines still to come on News 5.
The food, they have to have an open tender.
The daughter of Anwar Ibrahim describes conditions in police detention. She's out on bail and stands accused of sedition. Details after the break.
Mitsubishi Electric StarMax Aircon saves you energy and money, is easy to clean, and is the quietest.
Now, the daughter of jailed Malaysian opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim has accused the government of taking democracy hostage. Nurul Izzah is now out on bail after spending a night in police detention for alleged sedition. Ms. Nurul could take legal action for what she says was an unlawful detention.
A two-term MP, Nurul Izzah is a seasoned politician. She was unfazed despite being locked up overnight by police over remarks she made in Parliament. In addition to reading out a statement by Anwar condemning his trial as a political conspiracy, the 34-year-old accused Malaysia's federal court of being partners in crime for contributing to the death of a free judiciary.
Shouldn't I have every right, to speak my mind, to bring up issues in Parliament? They shouldn't touch me.
Nurul said she was emboldened after spending her first night in lockup. She said she didn't sleep a wink and complained about the crowded conditions.
The overcrowding, the fact that children are also being detained. The food, they have to have an open tender.
Nurul's release came as a relief to her mother, Dr. Wan Aziza Wan Ismail.
We have the strength to carry on because we want a better Malaysia. So if this is the price to pay, we are willing, but we want everybody to be together with us.
Now out on 1 month's police bail, Nurul Izzah, a mother of two, is defiant as she's pledged to continue to speak out against the government both in and outside Parliament. Her overnight detention has been criticised by international rights groups that have also raised concerns about a series of arrests of opposition and student leaders under the Sedition Act. 9 are currently being held for taking part in an anti-government rally on March 7th. They were calling on the government to free Anwar Ibrahim and for Prime Minister Najib Razak to step down. Melissa Goh, Channel News Asia, Kuala Lumpur.
Meantime, Myanmar has sentenced a New Zealand bar manager to 2.5 years in jail for insulting religion. Philip Blackwood had used an image of Buddha in an advertisement to promote a drinks event at his bar in Yangon. He posted this picture on Facebook depicting Buddha wearing headphones. Blackwood later removed the ad and posted an apology. 2 of his Myanmar colleagues were also jailed for insulting religion. All of them had pleaded not guilty. Israeli voters are at the polls today in an election that's seen as a referendum on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He is seeking a 4th term in office, and it's a tight race between his party and the centre-left Zionist Union. Neither side is expected to get more than a quarter of the votes, which means a coalition will have to be formed. The outcome of the vote will help set the course for new Middle East peace talks and Israel's troubled relations with its U.S. ally. In a last-minute pitch to woo voters, Mr. Netanyahu vowed not to allow the creation of a Palestinian state if he wins. He also promised to build thousands more settler homes in East Jerusalem to prevent future concessions to the Palestinians. Meanwhile, his challenger, Isaac Herzog, wants to repair relations with the Palestinians as well as the international community. Now let's take a quick look at other stories also making the news. Indonesia has extended visa-free travel for 30 more countries, including China, Japan and South Korea. It's aimed at boosting tourist numbers. But Australian visitors, who form the 3rd largest group behind Singaporeans and Malaysians, still need to apply for visas for short-term visits. Ties between Australia and Indonesia have been strained recently over the impending execution of 2 Australian drug smugglers in Indonesia. Residents of Vanuatu face imminent food shortages days after Cyclone Pam hit the Pacific nation. Relief workers who managed to reach remote islands of the archipelago spoke of extensive damage, with nearly 80% of buildings destroyed in one island. Food crops are also destroyed and communication is still down in some 80 islands. At least 24 people are confirmed dead. Japan says it has found an official Chinese map which labels a set of disputed islands as Senkaku. That is, in fact, the Japanese name for the islands. China calls them Diaoyu. Now, the map dates back to 1969. Tokyo says the information proves that the islands are Japanese territory and that China's claims are groundless. Okay, a quick check on sports, and in the English Premier League, Liverpool kept alive their hopes of a top 4 finish after a 1-0 win at Swansea City. The Reds got lucky in the 68th minute. Jordi Amat's clearance deflected off Jordan Henderson and into the net. The result means Liverpool stretched their unbeaten run in the Premier League to 13 matches. They're now 2 points behind 4th-placed Manchester United, who they face in a mouth-watering showdown this weekend at Anfield.
It's to finish as high as we can. Everyone talks about 4th, but it's the same every year for me. We do the best that we can do, and I think Manchester City's result at the weekend gives us an opportunity to finish second.
And still to come on 5, authorities raised the alert on 8 illegal health products. Some consumers may have already bought them online. And rare dog breeds to be showcased for the first time at this year's Pet Expo. We get a preview after the break.
Weather Report is brought to you by Mitsubishi Electric.
With 18 years of experience in the wood and laminate flooring industry, Floridge is the trusted choice of commercial and residential developments. We offer a wide array of quality flooring to suit your design concept and budget. Contact us for details.
It's a beautiful day. So why do you feel like this? It's said Singapore is one of the world's most sleep-deprived cities. How is it affecting our work at the office and in school? Tell us on Talking Point, live tonight, 9:30 p.m. on Channel 5.
Hello, this is Papa Smurf. Join me and some of my little Smurfs, Grouchy, Happy, Clumsy, Harmony, Brainy, Vanity, and of course Smurfette, in Singapore this June at Resorts World Theatre. Get your tickets today from SysTick. Brought to you by MediaCorp, Hasbro International.
Introducing the LEGO Star Wars Miniland. A new indoor experience at Legoland Malaysia Resort with over 2,000 models. Come experience the adventure in full force with your family at Legoland Malaysia Resort.
Dove knows that hair fall happens every day.
Every day I want to play, but it never seems to go my way.
Dove is different. With its first ever triple action treatment on hair fall, it nourishes the roots and strengthens hair from root to tip. With Dove, no more hair fall worries. Just beautiful and strong hair, so you're always at your best. Dove Total Hair Fall Treatment.
Vasantham presents In the Pursuit of Justice. They will fight against the odds in search of an enemy in the shadows. This time, they'll take the fight raw-knuckled. No holds barred. The law will do its duty. The hunt is on. Catch the explosive season of Vete, The Final Judgment, Mondays to Thursdays at 10:30 p.m. only on Vasantham.
Brought to you by Apollo Chalapas Department Store and Jewelry.
In the next episode of Verdict.
You're the manager. You're the only one to blame. Sign it. To blame. To blame. Sign it. You're the manager. To blame. You're the only one to blame. You're the only one to blame. You're the manager. Blame. 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 Sign it. You took the money. Blame. You're the only one to blame. Sign it. Sign it!
Verdict tonight at 10:30 on 5.
Welcome back. More people with disabilities will be able to benefit from the use of assistive technologies. From August this year, a fund will be expanded to cover anyone with disabilities, such as those in therapy, rehabilitation, and seeking more independence in daily living. The fund currently provides means-tested financial assistance. It covers students with disabilities in mainstream and special education, as well as adults with disabilities in open employment. But with the enhancements, more families in a middle-income group can benefit. The criteria for eligibility, that is the monthly per capita income, will also be raised from $1,500 to $1,800. The lifetime cap for subsidies will be doubled from $20,000 to $40,000 per beneficiary. With that, the number of beneficiaries is expected to double from 200 to 400 each year. These measures were announced by Deputy Prime Minister Tharman Shanmugaratnam just this evening. The government is also pushing for the development of new and innovative solutions to improve the lives of those with disabilities.
And especially our visually handicapped. We will make use of this new fund
to support the design and piloting of new solutions that improve the lives of persons with disabilities as well as their caregivers, and it can be in a whole range of areas, whether it's to do with mobility or navigation or working more productively and independently, or simply having a more independent life. I encourage all VWOs in the sector, like SAVH, to take full advantage of this initiative and work together to co-create solutions in the interests of persons with disabilities.
The Health Sciences Authority has raised the alert on 8 illegal health products that are being sold online. Now, the items claim to boost energy, build muscles, or help you lose weight. But they have been found to contain potent Western medicinal ingredients. If not taken under strict medical supervision, those ingredients can cause serious adverse reactions, such as insomnia, palpitations, and kidney disorders. Investigations have shown that some consumers may have already bought the products online. And if you're one of them, you should stop consuming them immediately and consult a doctor if you're unwell. 3 recipients are being recognized for their innovative and sustainable use of water. The Watermark Awards will be given out on Sunday, which is World Water Day. And here are some of their creative solutions.
Siloso Beach Resort earned itself a higher distinction, the honorary Watermark Award, for its holistic approach to both water and environment sustainability. It uses rain and spring water to irrigate gardens and landscaping, and conducts water-centric eco-tours with the PUB for its visitors.
When we preserve the trees and the natural terrain, we have a steady water table, a steady supply of this spring water that we're actually using for purposes like our pool, for all our irrigation, and for some of the outdoor cleaning. Recently, we have actually found out that we have extra heat waste that we can use and further improve our water and energy efficiency.
The resort has been able to tap waste heat given off by air conditioners and coolers. Instead of releasing the heat through water evaporation, hot water is brought to a heat exchange, where it can be used to heat water in rooms or the hotel's spa. The cooled water is sent back to chillers to restart the cycle. With this system, the hotel saves more water and no longer requires direct electrical heating. Alexandra Health System was also recognised for its efforts at Kutek Puat Hospital. For instance, water from nearby Yishun Pond is used in its rooftop gardens and in fun activities to help raise awareness of water recycling.
We also use Yishun Pond water to irrigate the landscape itself, so in a way we save water. And we are using those, the drip irrigation. It's a kind of system that actually the water distribution to the soil, rather than using the water hose to spray.
Asia Square's sustainability manager, Philip Chan, walked away with this year's sole individual award. He devised improvements to water tanks at Asia Square, capable of saving 30,000 litres of water per minute should they overflow.
You may have observed that Singapore's Civic District has been undergoing a revamp, and one veteran tour guide tells us what's needed to attract Singaporeans back to the city's historic heart is better public access to the area. Kimberly Spikeman took a walk to find out more.
This is Singapore's Civic District, home to some of the nation's most important cultural icons. And they're in the midst of getting a $740 million injection of funds to help Singaporeans rediscover their history. The first step, a facelift for some of the area's stalwarts. Following the restoration of the Victoria Theatre and Concert Hall, the area's Grand Dame, the National Museum of Singapore, the Asian Civilizations Museum and the Esplanade are now going through revamps. These will all be linked by the Jubilee Walk, a commemorative trail to be launched in November. For veteran heritage guide Geraldine Low, it's welcome news. The 77-year-old, who's seen a lot of Singapore's history firsthand, says the district's stories are told mostly to tourists, with younger Singaporeans less aware of its significance.
A lot of people know the history of Raffles and the arrival, but they forget, the rallies, the very fiery political rallies that took place, especially around here. So many of the old national stories that created Singapore as a city first and then, as a country, took place in these buildings.
So with the government putting in so much money to revamp the area, how do you think this is going to encourage more Singaporeans to visit the Civic District?
It's time that the local people really appreciated all the wonderful buildings and the history that's attached to them. They all have so many stories. So I think when they start doing the tours, they must have properly trained guides that can inspire, the listeners, and perhaps of a certain age that have lived through a lot of the historical moments that have happened around this area. So it's really
a big problem, according to her, is access to the area.
There's no car parks easily available. They come by MRT, it's quite a long walk. To solve all this problem, the best thing would be to have a tunnel from the City Hall area here, the new gallery, under the Padang to link up. And there's so much parking at the Esplanade. I think it's time that we plan things for us Singaporeans as tourists to visit our own country and make it more accessible and easy.
And she may get her wish, with plans in the pipeline to make the area more pedestrian-friendly.
And finally, rare breeds of dogs will be on display this week at a showcase at the Singapore Expo. Take a look. Now, some of the unusual canines include this tiny teacup poodle called Bahu. Now, such dogs do not grow beyond 8 inches tall. Now, the other extreme is this massive dog, which is of the Newfoundland breed. He weighs close to 50 kilos, even though he's only 15 months old.
I'm training him to be a therapy dog because I work with special needs children. So it took me 3 years to look for him. He's from France. The hallmark of this breed is their sweetness of temperament. So I think he'd be really good with children and people.
Other highlights include an adoption drive as well as competitions to find the most obedient dog and the guinea pig with the shiniest coat. And that's all from us on News 5. Good night.